Island, New York, America's fastest growing community. Home, place of business, playground for the millions who live in Nassau and Suffolk counties. But Long Island wasn't always like this. Not many years ago, it was a quiet, semi-rural community, just a place where things were going to happen. Just as gold brought settlers to California, something is bringing people to Long Island.
If you ever lived in the city, you'd know what attracts people to Long Island. They all come for the same reasons. Out here, there's room to breathe. You can afford your own home with a yard. There's room for the boys to grow among the trees and open spaces, the way I did, not surrounded by asphalt and concrete. And there's plenty of room for their father to relax in. Beautiful parks and recreational areas. And our fine parkways make it easy to get there.
You couldn't drag me back to the crowded city. I've got everything I ever wanted right here. The best stores and shops. Excellent schools for the children, from elementary through high school. Even colleges. We're modern out here, but we haven't forgotten our heritage. We have a knack of preserving the traditional alongside the new.
Most of us work right here on the island. Back in 1940, it was 1 out of 3. Most of us were commuters then. But now, the situation is reversed. And more than 2 out of 3 work here, where we live. We've got a lot of jobs to do on the island, from building planes and missiles to cameras and transistor radios. Big business and small. We've got a lot of farmland here, too. And the ocean has been important to us from the beginning. For business, for pleasure, along 1,000 miles of waterfront.
Seems there are a lot of reasons people come to Long Island, and they've been coming since as far back as the early 1600s. But the real population explosion is comparatively recent. More new homes built in 9 years of Long Island growth than in the whole history of Boston. The old estates, once so typical of the island, are disappearing, or being broken into smaller developments. Where once a single mansion stood, now 20 people own their own small castles. Long Island is a place of contrasts, of diversity, of both people and places. From the Queens County line,
and they wanted.
The long-awaited battle was over in 20 minutes. The code was revised, clearing the way to build Levittown.
Levittown set off the explosive post-war growth of Long Island. It was the beginning of the island's tremendous building boom, homes ranging from $10,000 to $100,000. Getting those building restrictions changed brought a great influx of people. More business came to the island, and this in turn brought more people. Thus began a cycle that never has ended.
The managing editor of Newsday at the time of the Levittown battle and many other big stories.
And we on Newsday help them to do that in a special way. Today, Long Island is America's new major market with the highest spendable income per household in the nation. The best market in the country for people with something to sell. Newsday is Long Island's marketplace. And that's why we carry more advertising than any New York City daily. Long Island doesn't have an uptown or a downtown. There is no other side of the tracks here. We've got hundreds of modern retail districts They combined to make Long Island one of America's top metropolitan shopping areas. Long Island is a community and market on wheels. This gives the Long Island shopper and shopping a unique character. Once it was all a problem of distance, but Newsday solved that. Through its great volume of advertising, Newsday became the shop window of Long Island, and the force that pulls Long Island's business community together, saving our readers time, and money, and effort.
But being a member of a...
Remember, we have over 6,000 of the best carrier boys in the country. Our well-rounded carrier advancement program is preparing these boys to be the leaders of tomorrow. With the delivery of a Newsday route comes the responsibility, business experience, and self-expression, which will serve them well in their adult lives. This is the crucial final link in Newsday's communication job. This is where Long Island's great distances are conquered. To show our appreciation, we have established Camp Newsday, a camp where our honor carriers spend a great week each summer. The Newsday Carrier program is considered a model for the rest of the nation. Newsday is essentially a home-delivered paper, so that everything that comes before does not mean a thing without the Newsday Carrier Boy.
Newsday has a strong publisher in Harry Guggenheim, who sets and directs the
appointment in the third race. To still others, it's a shop window with 100 miles of shops. But most of all, we are the town forum, where men and women can exchange ideas.
distance and diversity. From an elegant restaurant on the North Shore of Nassau to Main Street in Sag Harbor. From Manhasset Bay to Jones Beach. Preserving the old and building the new. The new Long Island, America's fastest growing city.
Since its first issue,
New York is the seashore, its lighthouses and craggy shorelines, its gentle surf, sand dunes, and ocean breezes. Long Island is the largest island on the Atlantic seaboard, 125 miles long, 23 miles wide. Today, Long Island is home to 2.8 million people and host to 50 million visitors annually. They come to walk the beaches, to surf cast, and to enjoy the treasures of the sea. But mostly, they come to play in the sun.
This is suburbia, America's newest lifestyle, home to more than half the nation's population. Suburbia as we know it today did not exist a few short decades ago. There were some who made their homes on the outskirts of cities, but most families lived in small towns, remote rural areas, far from the bustling centers where their city-dwelling counterparts worked and played. America has a lot to learn about this new lifestyle called suburbia, this booming new phenomenon that is happening across the breadth of our land. One place to look for some of the answers is to America's first and largest suburb, Long Island, USA. And to understand what is happening in the suburbs, you also have to talk with concerned people, like the publisher of Newsday, Long Island's major newspaper, William Atwood.
In a sense, you can see the future of suburban America in microcosm here in Long Island. All of the problems which other cities or the surroundings of other cities are facing up to have happened here or are happening. Long Island is coping with all of the problems which other suburban communities are just beginning to face up to now because we've had 20 years experience with them. Problems of planning, zoning, transportation, urban sprawl, schools, and governmental overlapping. Now, Long Island is the future in the sense there is no core city in this huge area. I say huge in terms of population. We have, well, we will have 3 million people here in 2 counties, Nassau and Suffolk, by 1980. We have about 2.7 million now. But in that area, we have about 348 towns, villages, and cities. In addition to which, we have hundreds of other jurisdictions, fire districts, school districts. It's terribly decentralized. And there's no real central city. Now, this is a pattern that is happening all over. You can go to Los Angeles, Southern California. You can go to the Washington area, Virginia and Maryland. Around all cities, you have this developing sprawl, really. The difference in Long Island is that it's limited by the sea. It cannot spread any farther. So what we have here on this island, we have to make work and make it work better because there's no place to go except the ocean or the Sound.
Long Island's growth was not gradual. It was more like an explosion brought about by a combination of nature, politics, and the end of World War II. Bob Green, Newsday reporter, tells how it happened.
Essentially out here you had little villages, and in between them there were just great big stretches of farm. They were mostly potato farmers who were buying on the GI Bill. You can drive through Levittown now. It's a tribute to the ingenuity and perseverance of these people. They've added on to these homes. They've spent tremendous amounts of money. And all of it, I think, is in terms of achieving that basic dream.
The suburbs are America, really, in the 1970s. The latest 1970 census figures show that 50.2% of Americans live in the suburbs.
David Laventhal, editor of Newsday.
As more and more people move to the suburbs, what we're finding, and probably our big story of the next 10 years, is what happens when the city comes to the suburbs. The suburban crisis may well follow the urban crisis. The kind of life that exists on Long Island is similar in many respects to the way of life of the country.
The appeal of suburban life, the lure of green grass, clean air, and sandy beaches continues to hold a strong attraction for nearby city dwellers. Families move in almost as fast as new houses are built. This constant growth from without is matched by the growth within, as young suburbanites marry and start families of their own. The good life of suburbia remains a powerful magnet, holding its present residents as it pulls in more and more people. The two counties of Long Island are a study in contrast. Nassau County, nearest the city, is already feeling the pressures of urbanization. Suffolk County, at Long Island's eastern end, is still New York State's largest agricultural community, with vast areas of open land and time to plan intelligently. But time has a way of running out.
Personally, I like the water. I was born and raised on Long Island. I've never lived anywhere else. I've never lived out of sight of salt water. And I like to fish, and I like to sail, and I like to be able to get on a boat and move. The thing that is really unusual about Long Island, that makes it stand out, is that it's probably the boating capital of the country. More boats in this little area packed in probably than anywhere else. Long Island residents as a whole probably are more alert, more aware of what is happening, particularly to their water environment, than people elsewhere.
In Hempstead Harbor, for example, where we're currently working, we're not going to be here.
Eastern Long Island is endowed with an abundance of natural resources in a setting that rivals any suburb in the United States for sheer beauty. Acre upon acre of colorful woodlands, a landscape of public parks, golf courses, and carefully groomed homes. Miles and miles of beaches, surrounded by the finest fishing grounds in America. All of it under clear skies, as yet untouched by the polluted air of the city. A haven that deserves protection.
It's just an impossible bumper-to-bumper situation.
over 1 million cars on the road now, and of course one of the reasons for that is the relative affluence of the area. 30% of the families on the island have 2 cars. Although let's not overlook the fact that that about 8% of the families on Long Island have no car at all, which is one of the contributing influences in the need for improved bus service. And good bus service is considered an absolute must for the area.
As more and more people migrate to suburbia from the cities, they create some of the same crush, the hunger to escape. But the advantages of their new lifestyle far outnumber the inconveniences.
I just can't wait to say hello to all the people of mine. I'm going back to say hello to all the people in my home.
The generation gap is enormous when it comes to the old person, mainly because the middle generation doesn't want to think about it. To the old people is a community that has deteriorated because it is no longer a vacation community. So old people who have no place to go and no place to live and whose families no longer want them have moved into these hotels. You'll see many, many people just sitting around. They may come in with a newspaper or something, but eventually it'll just drop into their laps and they have nothing to do until the next meal. So by having a newspaper point out their problems.
Suffolk County Editor Mel Opatowski.
When a new reporter comes to Long Island, after about a week on the job, the first thing he says is, boy, this place is big. He's put tremendous amount of mileage on his car. He's tired from driving, and he's discovered the main fact of life in covering Long Island for Newsday. It is 100 miles long, the two counties put together. Long Island was populated originally by people who came over from New England, across the Sound. And their attitudes are pretty reflective of New England people. They're short in their words, long in their meanings. They care about what they say they care about. They do like to keep what they have. In a way, it is a good comparison to the rest of the rural areas of the country. Now, light industry has established itself very strongly out here. Grumman is a good example, and is a major factor in defense aviation, but it has gone ahead to develop the LIM, the moonbug. The people in Grumman are ordinary people. They love to ride horses. They love to go out and pick strawberries. They're typical of the people who want both parts of the good life. They like working on advanced projects, things that are of the future. They like going home and putting their hands in the soil. They want to preserve that way, but they don't want to do it necessarily at the expense of the future.
So this is Long Island. It's got its problems. I think it is facing those problems. It's going to have to pay attention to them. But no matter how you cut it, it is the largest suburb in the United States. It is the leader, I think, in the development of, as we call it, outer city civilization. It is a lifestyle which I think is eventually going to be true in the whole United States. It's going through its birth pains, but even so, it has still been able to achieve tremendously. It has created, in effect, a whole new area of being in a country, and it is moving towards viability. Whether the cities live or die really depends on how much money is going to be poured into them. But whether they do live or die, I think that these whole new areas, like Long Island, will continue to live and grow as beings of themselves. And that's one of the most exciting things in the world. to be in on part of the formulation of this new style of living.